And contributors on Conklin and Company are not necessarily those of 13 ABC. Now, Conklin and Company continues with Take 3, commentary and analysis from our panel of political contributors.
Welcome back, everyone. Ain't no town like Motown. Couldn't be more true, but in this case, it's not a good thing. Detroit becoming the largest city in history to file for bankruptcy. Wanted to bring Ignacio Messina in from The Blade to talk about it. Last week, an extended piece, really did a lot of research on this. Go all the way back to the early 1980s, and you kind of tried to compare, Ignacio, why Toledo has been able to avoid Detroit's situation. As a native Detroiter, that was like a sock to the gut for many of us who are from the Detroit area. But in talking with all the people, all the players, it appears as if it was almost apples and oranges, that Toledo was not on the brink.
Sure.
To the extent Detroit was.
Now, I've been here for about 10 years. I moved here from New York City, and for all that time I heard, Toledo is a mini Detroit. We will be the city of Detroit. D. Michael Collins, who you had sit here in this chair a minute ago, said, if we don't fix Southwick and neighborhoods, we will become Detroit. Well, really, that's not true. I mean, Detroit has an $18.5 billion debt obligation. Toledo comes nowhere near close to that, even if you do a comparison per person. The problems in Detroit are, to the 10th degree compared to what Toledo had, really.
I can't even imagine the challenges that Kevin Orr faces right now.
Sure, absolutely.
And he's gone in and said, hey, police officers, we're cutting your pay by this, and firefighters, you have no choice.
And Mayor Bell points out that some of the things that he put into play when he first came to the office are similar to the things that Kevin Orr did in Toledo. In Detroit. And in fact, Mayor Bell called Mr. Orr to talk to him about several things, and one of the things that came up was Toledo's privatization of trash.
And the money savings there.
Exactly.
Okay, let's, you talked about Mayor Bell. Of course, I want to bring up this race for mayor, but in City Council this past week, Lindsay Webb pointed to Fire Station number 3 and said, listen, some of you are making this, this is about the mayor's race. Joe McNamara had the news conference when he was going to run in front of Fire Station number 3, right?
He announced he was running for mayor in front of the station.
And I did not ask Councilman Collins about this, but he bristled and let her have it publicly.
They let each other have it.
Absolutely.
Sure. Mr. Collins has made this an issue of his, and Lindsay Webb's contention was he's a district councilman. This is not in his district. Why is he making an issue of it? She's saying he's politicizing it.
And what's your observation? You're there every council meeting.
My observation is you've almost got 3 people on council running for mayor. You've got D. Michael Collins, Joe McNamara, and Lindsay Webb is a huge Anita Lopez supporter. So you're going to have those 3 people going at it, I think, until primary day in September.
How do those candidates differentiate, reconcile their jobs of city business with trying to win votes every single day?
Well, that's a good question. Do the candidates weigh, is this going to get me a vote?
Yeah.
Is this going to?
Right.
Subconsciously,
even.
Right. I think if I could answer that, I'd have maybe
That's a question for the other person who's in this chair.
It's a question for the councilman at this point. Obviously, Lindsay Webb thinks that's D. Michael Collins' motivation by, wanting to, do or not do Fire Station number 3.
Where do you see that going now? Because it's $2 million over budget. That station, to build a new one and to what the other stations
to renovate Fire Station 3 and to build a new one.
Yeah. Where's it headed?
I see it heading for another big debate. I see council not making up their mind on this. This even could drag on past the election. It's been suggested that the other candidates don't want a new fire station built because if that happens, Mayor Bell breaks ground and cuts a ribbon on a new fire station before Election Day.
Well, we'll see here. That it's going to be it is a political issue.
Absolutely. There's no avoiding it as a political issue.
I want to ask you your job as a reporter, and as an investigative reporter. So you did this long piece on Detroit that had to be a lot of time, a lot of research, and then there's the nuts and bolts of going to council and doing the business of the day. Is there more enjoyment that comes with one or the other?
It's just different kinds of enjoyment, I think. Council is sometimes boring, but as of the last, as you saw with the last meeting with Lindsay Webb and D. Michael Collins going after each other, it can be amusing at times. And I think, we get a lot of calls the next day. Did you see that? Yes, it was hard to miss.
Well, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. And you did good work on that Detroit piece. A lot of work was involved in that. And we thank you for coming on Conklin and Company.
Thanks.
Nobody next to you, but thanks for coming in.
Thanks
Ignacio Messina of the Toledo Blade. You can see him on the Blade Briefing as well from time to time on 13 ABC. That'll do it for this edition of Conklin and Company. We're back next week. Make it a great Sunday, everybody. Take care.